Why, hello there, and welcome to Merry Wednesday, a weekly podcast where every day is a holiday. I'm Sam, and I'm here to help you celebrate after a much longer hiatus than I was hoping. So thank you so much for joining me once again. And since I started the last season with an episode about a tasty drink I love that most other people haven't heard of, today, November 8th, 2023, we're celebrating Harvey Wallbanger Day. So almost certainly, your first question should be something along the lines of, what on earth is a Harvey Wallbanger? Followed shortly by, who even comes up with these ridiculous drink names? And great news, I intend to answer both of those questions. A Harvey Wallbanger is an alcoholic beverage similar to a screwdriver. In fact, they're almost identical. Both drinks start with about 1.5 ounces of vodka, slightly less for the Harvey Wallbanger, though you should, of course, add more or less based on your preference, and 3 ounces of orange juice over ice. For the screwdriver, that's all you need. But for a Harvey Wallbanger, you need one additional ingredient, Galliano Lacántico, or more commonly referred to as Galliano. So, the reason you probably haven't heard of this delicious liqueur before is because it was most fashionable in the 1970s, when the Harvey Wallbanger was at peak popularity. At this point, you might be thinking, Sam, you're a 90s kid. Why are you obsessed with egg creams and Harvey Wallbangers? And my very thoughtful answer for you is, I have no idea. I just like them. Try them and maybe you'll understand. And if you have a decades-old beverage that's no longer popular you'd like me to try and or talk about, let me know. Maybe there's a day about it. And if it's not already clear, I'll try anything once. And twice if I'm being honest. Anyway, back to Galliano. It's a pretty complex liqueur containing more than 30 ingredients. Among these are vanilla, anise, cinnamon, juniper, sage, thyme, lavender, sandalwood, and mint. That sounds like a lot, and it is, but it all makes sense. It basically makes simple drinks taste fancy. It seems like there is some disagreement as to which flavor is most prominent, but in my opinion, it's got a pretty strong licorice flavor, followed by vanilla. I don't like licorice, but I think it's quite pleasant when it all comes together. Depending on the drink, of course. I tried a hot shot, which is equal parts Galliano, hot coffee, and whipped cream. All things I enjoy, but I was not a fan of that. A golden Cadillac, however, which is equal parts Galliano, heavy cream, and creme de cacao, shaken with ice and strained, topped with nutmeg and or chocolate shavings, is quite tasty. Galliano was created in Livorno, Italy, 1896, and was named after an Italian war hero, Maggiore Galliano, who is literally described on the Galliano website as, quote, impossibly handsome. In fact, the description on their website is just so delightfully ostentatious that I will read it to you verbatim. Take one charismatic, impossibly handsome national war hero. Name your creation after him. Take tens of thousands of Italian prospectors who flocked to California during the Great Gold Rush. Make your liqueur a luminous gold to remind them of their beloved homeland. Add a recipe that reads more like a medieval elixir of herbs, plants, roots, barks, spices, and flower seeds. Follow with a distillation process that's closer to the creation of the finest perfume than that of a spirit. Mix with equal measures of Italian flamboyance and audacity. Shake together vigorously with a liberal dash of passion and humor. And there you have it, the spirit of Italy, Galliano, Spirito Italiano. So yeah, very unique in taste, flavor, and origin story. But another thing that makes it stand out is its appearance. As it states in the description from the website, it's almost a glowing yellow-gold color. But the other interesting thing is that the bottle is absurdly tall. The idea behind this is twofold. The physical design was made to look like Roman columns, and the height was a very clever way of ensuring that this bottle could only fit on the top shelf. So before you go out and buy some, make sure you have some room on the top shelf of your liquor cabinet. Or on top of your liquor cabinet. It's seriously tall. You would have no trouble picking it out in a liquor store, assuming they actually have some. I went to my local liquor store to pick some up recently, purely for research, of course, and definitely got some funny looks from the salesperson. In fact, she said she had worked at that store for 4 years and didn't think she'd ever sold a single bottle. Then she directed me to the aisle with all the fancy liqueurs, and I found the only bottle they had on guess which shelf. So if you want to make an impression on your local liquor store clerk, though not necessarily a good impression, buy a bottle of Galliano Lacántico. There actually are other flavors of Galliano, which I did not know, did not see, and have not tried. But since that's not what we use for Harvey Wallbanger, it's irrelevant for the purposes of this episode. So in order to change a screwdriver into a Harvey Wallbanger, all you need to do is float about 1/2 ounce of Galliano on top of it, and bang, Harvey Wallbanger. And I did say I'd explain the origin of the name, so here you go. Now, I'm a little confused here because it says that the drink was reportedly created in the 1950s, though the time frame is debated, but it sounds like it wasn't named until the 1970s, which makes no sense, but that's what I get for trying to talk about something that existed before the internet. In theory, the drink was named after a bar-going surfer named Tom Harvey, who got so drunk he started walking into walls, thus earning himself a fun new nickname he now shares with a tasty beverage. I have found some information saying that he banged his head into the wall, some saying he banged his surfboard into the wall, and some saying he just walked into the wall. Either way, Harvey was banging into a wall in some capacity. And to make measures even more confusing, it sounds like the actual Tom Harvey has never been identified or located. Perhaps Harvey was actually a 6-foot-tall invisible rabbit. Yeah, I'm just going to keep making these references older and older until everyone thinks I'm insane, but I'm hoping that if by some chance you actually know what I'm talking about, that gave you a little chuckle. As for the origin of Harvey Wallbanger Day, if you listen to any previous episodes, you can probably guess that this is not only also incorrectly referred to as National Harvey Wallbanger Day, but that its origin is either unknown or debated, as is the case with basically every other food or drink holiday. In this case, it appears to be debated. I found some instances saying that it's still being researched, and others claiming that somehow the holiday came before the drink and or the drink's name. Some even claim that the holiday was created before the drink became popular, which also doesn't make any sense. But not knowing the origin shouldn't keep you from trying one. Frankly, if anything should keep you from trying one, it's the character created to market the drink, fittingly named Harvey Wallbanger, who seems to be this terrified-looking person with a few hairs on their head, no smile, and gigantic feet. I'm not sure how it was successful, but in theory it was. I find it mildly terrifying. But if your curiosity is piqued, I did include a link in the show notes that includes a picture of Harvey Wallbanger, but there are several more if you do an image search. I do realize that the reasonable reason that a person wouldn't have a Harvey Wallbanger is because they're sober, either because they choose to be, or because they're underage. And if that applies to you, I apologize if this episode has made you feel a little bit left out. I did look into non-alcoholic alternatives, and it seems like the best way to do that would be to have orange juice, omit the vodka, and substitute Galliano for a combination of vanilla and anise flavoring or extracts. I haven't tried this personally, so if you do end up trying it, please let me know how you like it. And also, please let me know if you have a better idea for an alternative way of making a non-alcoholic Harvey Wallbanger. But as always, have it how you want it. You can just have a glass of orange juice and put a maraschino cherry and an orange slice in it if you want. While you might not necessarily be able to call it authentico, as long as you like it, it really doesn't matter what other people think. You should always prioritize your own happiness, and that includes making sure your taste buds are happy. Well, I'm suddenly in the mood for something fruity, perhaps orange-flavored, so I'm going to go pop open my gigantic bottle of Galliano and grab some orange juice. Of course, fresh squeezed orange juice would be best, but that's more labor-intensive and puts more time between me and my beverage, so I'm going to use pre-made orange juice. Again, if it doesn't make you happy, there's no reason to do it. I hope you enjoyed your blast from the past. If you put a fun spin on it, I'd love to hear about it. I seriously considered getting Sunny D instead of orange juice, but decided against it for the sake of authenticity. But if you want to try it, good for you. I can't wait to hear about it. Please feel free to send me an email at merrywednesdaypod@gmail.com to tell me all about it. You can also check out www.merrywednesday.com, find our page on Facebook called Merry Wednesday, follow our Instagram page, Merry_Wednesday, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Merry Wednesday. I've also just launched a Patreon page. Rewards will include things like Merry Wednesday stickers or being able to choose an episode. If you have any other ideas for reward tiers, please let me know. And if you like this episode, please rate and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen. Thank you so much for taking the time to celebrate with me, and I hope you have a very Merry Wednesday.